Hello, how are you guys? My name is Pamela Hogan, and you're here at Hogan Institute of Cosmetology and Aesthetics, and we're here to talk about hair relaxers, retouches, and virgin relaxers, and why they are important to some people. The purpose for relaxers are for clients that have extremely coily hair or excessively tight hair and is unmanageable. Relaxers are designed to actually loosen the curl pattern, straighten the hair permanently. But before we actually go into the process of properly relaxing hair, I want to talk to you a little bit about the structure of hair. Now, let's get to the good stuff. The breakdown of the hair structure. There are 3 layers, that's right, 3 layers of the hair. Your 3 layers of hair, or your 3 layers of the hair structure, is your cuticle, cortex, and medulla. Your cuticle is considered to be your outermost layer, which that is the protection. That protects your hair. Your cortex is your middle layer, which is your strength and your elasticity. And then you have your medulla, which is your innermost layer, which does not play a role in any type of chemical services. And everyone does not have a medulla, so medulla is irrelevant. It's not that important. Now, let's talk about your pH, which is considered to be your potential hydrogen. It ranges from 0 to 14, with 7 considered to be neutral, okay? Now, natural hair pH balance is 4.5 to 5.5. Now, this is a picture of the anatomy of the hair, and as you see, that's where our cuticle lies, which protects and repairs the hair. So that plays a very important part, keeping that hair cuticle shaft really nice and smooth after a relaxer. And then, of course, the middle layer is our cortex, as you can see, and that is where the strength lies. That is where the elasticity lies when you are doing a relaxer. Now, let's talk about the basic building blocks of hair. Hair is made up of many things: amino acids, peptide bonds, which is considered to be your end bonds, your polypeptide chain, keratin treatment, and also your side bonds. When amino acids are linked together with end bonds, which is called our peptide bonds, it links together and forms our polypeptide chain. And as you can see, this is what our polypeptide chain looks like. Just like that. It almost looks like bees that are linked together with a string. Okay? Now, this is what we call our keratin protein. Our keratin protein is made of a long chain of amino acids linked together end to end like bees. Amino acid chains are linked together by the peptide bonds, or what we call our end bonds. Now, the cortex is made up of millions of polypeptide chains cross-linking with what we call our side bonds. These are our side bonds. This is our polypeptide chain, and they are linked together with your hydrogen bond, your salt bond, and your disulfide bonds. Hydrogen bonds and salt bonds are your weakest bonds, and salt being the weakest. These 2 bonds can be broken with water or a change in the pH. However, the disulfide bonds cannot be broken with water alone. Chemical relaxers is what breaks the disulfide bonds, allowing the change of the curl structure to become straight. Now, the most important thing, guys, in doing a relaxer is making sure, of course, you protect the hair, but also remembering that you have to neutralize the hair after a relaxer. You have to restore those disulfide bonds that are broken. Remember the ones we were talking about? That was the strongest. You have to be able to repair them. So that's why a neutralizing shampoo is so important when you're talking about doing a hair relaxer. Along with your neutralizing shampoo, you're also going to need these implements as well. You will need your hair comb, which is a rat tail comb, or you can also use a color brush, whichever one you decide to use. A pair of scissors, of course, so that you can cut your protective cream, and this actually protects the ends of the hair. For those clients who have previously been relaxed, you want to make sure you protect those relaxed ends. And then you also want to protect, maybe if there's color present, whatever, you want to make sure that you protect the porous ends as well. And this is what works perfectly. You also want, not only that, you're going to want to make sure that you have some type of protective cream to go around your client's perimeter to protect around her edges. And then you're also going to need a protective cream for her ends. This is going to be really important for those color treated clients and also those clients who have been previously relaxed or even have porous ends. Strength of Nature makes a great protector, so this is definitely what you want to use to protect those ends. Then you want to make sure you have a wide tooth comb so that you don't break the hair while you're combing it or before relaxer is applied. And you want to make sure you have your gloves. Your gloves are going to be very important because that's what protects you. And of course your color bowl for your relaxer. Now, once you have gotten your client seated, you want to make sure that you section the hair off in fours. That's going to be really important for you to actually be able to control the relaxer and control the hair. And then you want to apply your protective cream around your client's hair, like so. You just want to kind of go around the ears, around the perimeter, applying the protective cream. Okay. Now, once you have done that, you want to make sure that you take your protective leave-in conditioner, and this is what's going to protect the hair or the hair ends from any damage, especially if this is a retouch. You definitely want to make sure you get those ends really good. So then we go through, take a little bit of the product, and we're going to protect the hair ends. We're going to pretend like she has about 2 inches of new growth, okay? And we want to get all the way to that line of demarcation to make sure that we are protecting those ends. And you put it on like so. Protecting those ends are very important. Okay. Now, when you're doing a relaxer too, guys, you always want to make sure that you apply to the most resistant area first. And usually the crown is sometimes the most resistant area. So you want to make sure that you do a consultation with your client and make sure that you examine the hair and see where the most or the thickest area is. And that's where you really want to start. Okay, so we'll just pretend like our mannequin area in the back is the thickest. And so now once you have done that, you've protected your client completely and you've protected her ends, right? So that's important. Now, you can use either, and it's your choice, you can either use a rat tail comb or you can use a color brush. It's totally up to you. Some people like to use the rat tail. Some people like to use the color brush, but it's not, it can be used either or. I'm going to use a rat tail comb when I'm applying my relaxer. You want to make sure that you are parting your subsections into a 1/2 inch. You see, that's about a 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to take some of my relaxer on the end of my combs. And remember, we actually applied the protector on the ends, and we left out about 2 inches of new growth. So then you want to take it and you want to apply it just about a little ways from the scalp. Can you zoom in for me just a little bit? I just want to show them it's not lying directly on the scalp, but it's right above the scalp. Okay, you want to make sure you also get it on the back as well. You flip it over, you go back, you get another 1/2 inch, and you do the same thing. Just barely not getting it on the scalp. And you flip it over. You do the same thing. Take a 1/2 inch. Make sure you flip it over. Isn't it wonderful that we have the leave-in conditioner on the end? Because if you go over the line of demarcation and you don't have the protective conditioner on there, you could possibly cause breakage to the hair. So we want to make sure that we have our protective conditioner, our leave-in conditioner, to protect those ends. Now, if you get a little relaxer on the client's scalp and they start burning, what you need to do is try to rinse that area a little bit, or either spray it with some type of oil, and that should help with that burning sensation. At least enough for you to finish the relaxer and get it properly straightened. Once you have finished this side, then you can go to the next side as well. And then you're going to go to the next side and do the same thing. Just taking a 1/2 inch of subsection and applying the relaxer like so. Very easy. And if you're doing your subsections too wide, that is going to stop the relaxer from actually penetrating like it needs to. So you want to make sure that your subsections are not so wide where you have areas that did not relax properly. That's going to be really important. Now, once you have gotten the relaxer on the new growth, then you can go back and smooth that relaxer. Now, if you notice, you see me putting relaxer on with the back of my comb, not the teeth. That's really important because if you do that, you might cause some type of irritation to the scalp and it will start burning. So you make sure you're using the back of your comb. Now, when you're smoothing, you want to do the same thing as well. You want to make sure you take it, smooth it down with the back of the comb. Now you can hit where the scalp is and she'll be fine because she's had time to actually let the process straighten her hair. Using the back of the comb, like so. Guys, you do not want to smooth this relaxer through the ends, especially if it is a retouch. You do not. Anytime you overlap that hair that's been previously relaxed, you're breaking the bonds, the sulfide bonds even more. And that's what causes breakage. You don't need to relax already relaxed hair. It's relaxed and it's permanent. Okay, so you do not need to re-relax it. Only thing we're focusing on is our new growth. And if you need to put a little bit more, you can at that point to get that the roots straightened. Using the back of your comb only to smooth. You do not want to put stress on that hair. Once you've gotten that section nice and smooth, you can move on to your next section and you do the same thing using a 1/2 inch parting to actually smooth right at the scalp. Now my client is ready to sit for the amount of time that the manufacturer tell you for her to sit. Now let's talk about virgin relaxer. Virgin relaxers are really, really important, guys, because you want to make sure that you don't overprocess that as well. If you have a client come in and say, oh, I want a relaxer, I'm natural, I want a new relaxer. Of course, you know, your price points go up, but the proper way to do a virgin relaxer, again, is to make sure that you've got the protective cream on the ends. Guys, please, this is a must. Do not leave this out. This protects the ends whether they are virgin, whether they are relaxed, colored, or whatever. So you want to, because the ends can sometimes be very porous, so we definitely want to protect those ends. Okay, so then you're going to go in. At this point, also take a 1/2 inch parting. I have to turn her around just a little bit. Now that I've shown you how to do a retouch relaxer properly, I'm going to show you how to do a virgin relaxer the right way. You always want to use your protective conditioner to protect your ends because your ends are really porous, whether they have a relaxer or not. You just want to make sure that you're protecting them. Now, you're going to take the difference between a virgin and a retouch is you want to at least be about half an inch away from the scalp and a half an inch away from the ends, okay, from the porous ends. So we're going to apply it right here, a half an inch away from the root to a half an inch away from her ends. And you also want to make sure you get the back of it as well. Like so. You do a half an inch parting as well. You can use a butterfly clip if that helps you from keeping that hair from falling on the other hair. It's a really good way to, you know, keep everything uniform. And then we'll go again and half an inch down the hair shaft towards the ends, and then you let go. It's important to do it this way because at this point, because of the heat from the scalp, it tends to process the chemical faster. So you want to make sure that you're getting the hair shaft first because that is the most resistant. The most porous areas will be your right at the root and on your end. So that's why we tell you to put a half an inch or 1/4 inch away from the scalp and then a half an inch away from the ends. Using a half an inch subsections. And just coming on down that hair shaft like so. And don't forget to make sure you get you know, in the back of it so that it will process evenly. Okay. Most of the packaging that you guys get will have more than one relaxer in the box, so you should have more than enough to be able to do, even if the hair is really extremely long, you should have more than enough to last you. So we're finishing our virgin relaxer, keeping it away from the scalp about a half an inch. And also keeping it away from the ends. don't forget to get your back side so that your hair, the client's hair, will evenly straighten. Now, once your client hair has properly straightened and you look and see that the curl pattern is no longer there, then you can go back and apply it to her roots and her ends. That's going to straighten really fast because remember, the body heat makes the relaxer process faster, and you know your ends are already porous, so they're going to process pretty fast anyway. Okay, so one person asked me a question. They said, can I use my hands to actually smooth? And actually you really can, but you want to go back before you start smoothing with your hand. You want to go back and kind of make sure that you are taking it and getting it to the roots now. Now that this is processed, we know this is going to process pretty fast. So then we go back and we apply it to the roots, and you can actually stroke it to your ends at that point, smoothing it with your fingers. And State Board will allow you to do that, by the way. And they won't allow you to use the back of a comb, but you can stroke it once it has processed through the hair at that point. Remember, this is not a retouch. This is a virgin relaxer that has never had a relaxer done before. So you can use your fingers to kind of pull it up the hair shaft, like so. And you're still using your 1/2 inch subsections because you want to make sure that you distribute it evenly in the hair. So that's going to be really important. And just stroking it up. Getting that root. And this is the only time you will put a relaxer on your ends. This is the only time if it is a virgin relaxer. Please do not do this if it is a retouch. There is no need to re-straighten hair that has already been straightened. You just kind of stroke it up, lay it aside. Make sure you're getting at the roots on both sides and stroking it up like so. And remember to make sure that hair shaft in the middle is straightened before you put it on the roots and the ends, because that's going to process faster. And this is going to allow your client to sit longer if you don't apply it to her scalp so soon. And just stroking that hair up and smoothing it with your fingers. You just stroke it all the way to the ends at that point. keeping your subsections small because that allows you to be able to control that hair and you're evenly distributing the relaxer. Pulling it all the way out to the ends, like so. Okay. That is the proper way to actually do a virgin relaxer. This is a proper way to do a retouch or a virgin relaxer. Let's recap on what we talked about. When you are doing a retouch, you want to always use your conditioner leave-in protective cream. That is going to protect your ends that have been previously relaxed. Now, when you're doing a retouch, only do the new growth only. Barely touching the scalp. Barely touching the scalp. Once you get it throughout, then you can go back and smooth to the scalp, and that allows your client enough time to be able to sit and allow the new growth to straighten properly. Now, let's talk about your virgin relaxer. You only want to actually apply a 1/2 inch away from the scalp and a 1/2 inch away from the ends. Why? Because the ends are very porous, so they're going to process a lot faster. And then the roots are, the scalp is just the heat, the body heat from the scalp is going to process the relaxer a lot faster. So the hair shaft itself is the most resistant. So you want to make sure you get that straightened first, okay? You leave it on, depending on what the manufacturer tells you, 10, maybe 15, 20 minutes, depending on the texture of the hair. And then, once you notice that it has straightened in between the hair shaft, not only, until then, you're going to go and then reapply or apply to your new growth in your ends at that point. And you can take it and then at that point smooth it all the way through. But this is the only time, guys, that you're going to be putting a relaxer all the way through the hair. It has to be a virgin relaxer. Okay? Virgin relaxer. Now, the one key factor that I want you to remember is retail. Retail will help you. Not only will it help you, it will help your client. You want to make sure that your client goes home with the proper product because relaxer needs moisture. And your client depends on you to give them what they need. So make sure you put it in their hands. Let them take it home. Let it be a home regimen for them. There are several different things that your client needs to take home. They need to take a moisturizing shampoo home. They need a moisturizing conditioner. They also need some home maintenance products to use on a daily basis. So you want to make sure that your client is taking home what they need to maintain their relaxer. Hey guys, we are so excited to be working with you. We've got several things in store for you, from hair coloring to hair cutting to hair styling, even nail tech and skincare aesthetics. And again, Pamela Hogan, I'd like to say thank you from the Hogan Institute of Cosmetology and Aesthetics, where we change your career and you change your life.